Hello, hello, and welcome to Inspired Thoughts. Kimberly here. And what I feel incredibly inspired to speak to you about today has to do with the question that I asked in the title of the video. Do you struggle with just feeling stressed out, anxious, maybe having a lack of balance in your life, whether it's work life or life balance, personal life, family life, friend life, and such, perhaps fatigue, exhaustion, burnout. If you struggle with any of those things, I just want to have a conversation about that today because I have been there, all of the above, have checked all those boxes and have gotten to the other side of it and have learned a lot along the way. And one of the things that I've learned is that there is in fact a direct link between, and this is for all people, but I'm going to speak to women because that's my jam and that's who I work with and coach. So with the women I've coached over the years, I have found there is absolutely a direct link between a woman's level of happiness and her well-being, a direct link between that and her level of self-worth. So with all of the things I listed in the beginning, if you're feeling stressed out, a lack of balance, fatigue, burnout, those are all symptoms. Those are symptoms of, oh, hey, Mama's on. Hey, Midge jumped on. How are you, my dear? All of those are symptoms. I'm going to try my best not to get distracted, but I love saying hello, so thank you for saying hi. They are symptoms of the underlying problem, and I've learned that the underlying problem so often is at some point a level of a lack of self-worth. Because if you have a strong sense of self-worth, then you will make the choices to have the focus in life, choose the thoughts, because we do get to choose what we focus on, which will generate the thoughts that we have. And so to be able to have the thoughts that you want to have that will then cause you to make the choices, take the actions that will lead to your best life experience, that only happens when you have a strong sense of self-worth. So when I've worked with women, for example, who have a lack of balance in their life, they're not taking care of themselves. They're not incorporating any kind of routine of self-care. And we all know, we don't need to Google much to know how important self-care is. And yet a lot of the women I work with, as we first start working together, have no routine for self-care. Why is that? Because there is an underlying struggle with self-worth. And sometimes, I call it an underlying struggle. The symptoms themselves can sometimes be very bold and very in your face, especially when you have high levels of stress and or that feeling stuck or the burnout, the fatigue. Those can be very in your face struggles. But again, they're symptoms. The underlying cause is so often that lack of self-worth. Because if you have a strong sense of self-worth, which simply means I have a strong sense of who I am, and not only that, I value who I am in this world. I value myself enough to make me a priority in my life experience. That is self-worth. I am worthy of having an amazing life. And because I know I am worthy of having an amazing life, I am going to think the thoughts and make the choices and take the actions that will ensure my happiest life experience. So if I have a strong sense of self-worth and I'm thinking those things, I'm going to incorporate a self-care routine within my life experience. Does that make sense? So it just, when you make the connection in that way, if you have, if you're feeling stuck, demotivated, often that again stems from a lack of valuing yourself enough to really have a willingness to see things differently, to step out of maybe current beliefs or conditioning that are holding you back from taking the next step into living in the fullness of all this life has to offer. Because if you really are understanding the fullness of what this life has to offer and who you really are and the fullness of you and all you have to offer life, then you'll never be stuck. There's never a sense of demotivation because If you can connect with that, then you'll be inspired all day long. I'm proof of it, and women I've worked with are proof of it over and over again. So I'm not only convinced, I know it. I don't just hope for it. I don't just believe it. I know it to be true. If you have high levels of stress and anxiety, or even, depression, these are symptoms. And if you have a strong level of self-worth, of self-love, of self-esteem, I use the word self-worth, but interchange it with what resonates most with you. If you value yourself enough, then you will make certain choices in your life that will alleviate some of the stress and anxiety. Now, I know you might say, but there are some things that are out of my control. Well, you know what? There's a way you can handle that too. There are ways, there are things you can implement in your life. There are practices, there are tools, there are resources you can implement so that even when something happens in life that rocks your world, even the foundation on which you stand, you can turn within and find a sense of ease, as opposed to having it take you to such levels of stress and anxiety. And I get it. I've been there too. I mean, I was in my mid-30s and found myself in the Minnesota Heart Clinic. I think I was like 36. And they put me on a 48-hour, it's called a Holter monitor, where they were monitoring my heart for 2 straight days, only to find that there were issues, fluctuations in my heart rate. Sometimes I think it was a 2-second delay between heartbeats and such. And my doctor was concerned and said, you know what, you're otherwise perfectly healthy. She's like, this is all stress. This is all stress. And I really was shocked by that. And I kind of took a step back and I'm like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I have this great life. I've got my dream job. I list all the things. But the fact of the matter was, there was a lot of things happening within my circumstances that beneath it all, I felt I didn't have control over. And I wasn't managing the stress of that very well. And so that was a big wake-up call for me. And I've learned a ton along the way. So that was over 10 years ago. And I've learned a ton along the way that has taught me, so that I've now been able to teach others how to manage stress and how to manage circumstances in your life, so that you don't let your happiness, your mood, your attitude be dictated by the circumstances around you. You instead move into your day unconditionally. Regardless of the circumstances around me, I can still choose my attitude, my mood, my thoughts, and it changed everything. So my message to you today is that if you find yourself dealing with stress, lack of balance, fatigue, burnout, that sense of feeling kind of stuck, demotivated, all these things, it's important that you take the time to ask the question, like really step back and ask, how have I been valuing myself? Have I been recognizing and appreciating how worthy I am, to the point that I'm taking best care of myself and making the choices that will ensure I have the happiest life experience I possibly can? And it's only when you're making those choices for yourself, you can actually be the best advocate for others in your life too. So if you're starting to mentally go down the road of, oh, but I've got to focus on taking care of everybody else. I've got to take care of my kids, my family, my team at work, whatever the case may be. No. You don't get to cop out in that way. You've got to take care of yourself, especially if you've got others that count on you. Not take care of yourself first as long as you don't have anyone else counting on you. No. Take care of yourself first, especially if you have others counting on you. And if you have others looking up to you, whether it's because you're, a mom, a big sister, an aunt, in a leadership role of some kind, it is such a gift you could give to those that are looking up to you right now. If you could look within and find that level of self-worth, cultivate a level of self-worth that causes you, just inspires you to focus on the things that are the healthiest and in the right way, that will generate the thoughts that are healthiest, that will cause you to make the choices and take the actions that are going to lead to the most positive, happy life experience you could ever imagine. It is so incredibly possible. And because this is so very important to me, it touches me to my heart and to my soul. And not only is it something that I struggled with, but it's something that I see at the core of what so many women struggle with that I've worked with over the years. I put together a 3-part video series. You've seen me probably post about it already, but I wanted to share it with you in our Inspired Thoughts as well. It is simply called 3 Steps to Unshakable Self-Worth. And so I'm going to put a link in the comments so you can head over and check it out. It's just inspiredwithkimberly.com/self-worth. inspiredwithkimberly.com/self-worth. I even created like a little play sheet. I originally called it a worksheet, but I don't want you to think you're having to work. So it's just a 2-pager play sheet that's just kind of something you can download, print out, or just work from if you want to look at it and write in your journal or something, just to help you as you go through the 3 videos to help you get the most out of it. So this 3-part video series is completely free. At the end of the 3rd video, I do share with you how, if you feel it in your heart to kind of take a step in the direction of working more with me, I want to be able to share that with you. So that's there, but nothing's stopping you from hitting pause at that point. So I hope you don't, because I hope that we get to work together and I can help you on your path to living your most inspired life, because that's what this is all about. But even if that's not even of interest to you at this point, or not something on your mind or on your heart, dive into the 3-part video series and get the nuggets that I'm providing for you for free. It's just inspiredwithkimberly.com/self-worth. I will put the link in the comments. And then ladies, if you're not a member of the Inspired Life Tribe yet, head over there. It's a free Facebook group. That's where I encourage you to go and tag me in a post if, as you're going through the 3 videos, the 3 steps, if you have any questions, you want to share any aha moments or insight, looking for clarity on something, go into the Inspired Life Tribe. It's private, it's women only, and tag me in a post with what you have to share so that I can get notified that you've posted about the series and can jump in and correspond with you there and support you as you go through the 3-part series. So my invitation for you today is 2-part. 1, just take a pause in your day and look within. If you're feeling any of the symptoms we talked about, or any combination, they can often come. They can come as a double, triple, quadruple whammy sometimes. And really take a step back and look within and think, am I honoring myself? Am I truly recognizing how worthy I am, how special I am, how lovable I am? Or am I beating myself up a little bit? Or am I not valuing myself enough to take good care of myself and have better balance in my life and do the things that I know are going to make my life experience a happier one? It's just an internal inquiry. It's all it is, and see what happens. And then the second invitation is to dive into that 3-part video series. I put a lot of heart and soul into creating it for you, and I just want to put it out there so that anyone that can benefit from the messages and the nuggets of inspiration in it can do so. So click on the link in the comments, or just go to inspiredwithkimberly.com/self-worth. If you have questions, post in the Inspired Life Tribe and tag me to make sure I get notification if you've asked a question or want to share something with me. And then if you have questions about working with me after you check it all out, then don't hesitate to hit me up, let me know, send a private message, or reach out in any way, okay? So I look forward to hearing how the video series goes for you. That's what I have for you today. Self-worth, happiness, right here, baby. They're so connected. So recognize that, and let's take steps to make sure that one leads to the other in a big way, okay? I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and until our paths cross again, I am sending you much, much love. Take care.